I made like 100 today, but was hungry and looking real bummy today. You was bony and looking too funny today. I don't care, niggas still make change. Let's go. That's all I fucking hear, cause I got.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Chatting with Cheeze podcast. I'm your host, Fat Cheeze, and y'all already know the motto: no gimmicks, only the real. This is episode 18. I'm gonna need y'all to smash that subscribe button for me. Also, like and share the content, and let's jump right into it. Cowboys. So y'all already know, for any of my fellow Cowboy fans, and you know what I'm saying, anybody who just watch football in general, everybody on Sunday watch my Cowboys get obliterated on national TV at 4:25 Eastern Time versus the Detroit Lions. It was just a bad game all around for my Cowboys. They didn't look good at all. They honestly look, I'm being generous, they honestly look sorry. So my question that I got is, the Cowboys, like I said, just lost this past Sunday to Detroit. They go on their bye week. So my question that I have is, can the Cowboys turn things around, or what's my confidence level in the Cowboys turning everything around? And if I'm being all the way honest, it's a 0. I don't think the Cowboys can turn it around. I think the Cowboys they are what they put out on the field. They're a bad football team. They just look terrible. The team construction is just terrible. I think it's just bad all around. They don't have a running game. The offensive line is mediocre. They don't have anybody that can get open outside of CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. The defensive line is terrible. The linebackers miss too many tackles. So does the safeties. And I mean, they've been injury prone at that QB at that corner, that second corner spot all year, with Deron Bland having to get foot surgery. Carson been being in and out of the lineup all year with his injuries, and with him being injured. And now they just pulling up a bunch of guys from the practice squad. Micah Parsons hurt, DeMarcus Lawrence. It's just bad. I mean, it's just all around bad. And I mean, me being a diehard fan, I've been a fan my whole life. Sometimes you just got to look at the writing on the wall and see it for what it is. It's a bad football team. It's a bad football team. I mean, for you to go out there on national TV like that and get completely destroyed at home, it's just, I mean, it's no words for me to even describe it. I cut the game off at halftime, if I'm being honest, because I've seen this before. For you to go down, your first 2 possessions go in the red zone and you only end up with 3 points. Doc throws an interception. It's just terrible. I mean, it's just all around terrible. This is their 4th straight home game, trailing by 15 plus points at halftime. That's utterly ridiculous. That's dating all the way back to last year's playoff game versus the Green Bay Packers. It's just it just gets to a point where it honestly, for me to be able to look at it and see it all these years, it still kind of shocks me that, you know, this is the type of product that this is the type of shit that they putting out there on the field, and then they want to go and stand in front of these microphones and all this, and they just repeat the same thing over and over again. When you got fans paying their hard-earned money, and you know you got people, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said, going back to just the construction of the team, the offensive line is mediocre. They have a right tackle that they paid a few years ago in Turnstile. He's one of the worst right tackles in football, in my opinion. Zach Martin, to me, is kind of getting to that point where it's about time for him to step away. He doesn't look good. I like Tyler Smith, but you drafted a guy in Tyler Guyton because you went into the draft being as though you didn't do anything in the offseason. So you went in the draft looking to draft for need instead of best player available. You drafted Tyler Guyton, and he had to be thrown into the fire week 1, and he's not giving you good production. So now, and then he ended up getting hurt against Pittsburgh. So then you were forced to move Tyler Smith, who's your all pro left guard. You had to move him to the outside of left tackle, which he can do a pretty good job at. You've seen his rookie year, and then you were basically forced to have to bench Tyler Guyton for this past week, basically, which could possibly kill his confidence or anything. It's just all over the place. You have no run game whatsoever. You have no run game. Rico Dowdle gave you Gave you a little sparkles against Pittsburgh, but let's just all be honest. I like Rico Dowdle, but Rico Dowdle is not a running back one in the NFL. He's not a running back one. Then you had the opportunity to go out and get Derrick Henry. You had the opportunity to go out and get Derrick Henry. You chose not to because you said it was too expensive. That's what Jerry Jones said. I'm not buying it. You bring back Ezekiel Elliott, who you had a year and a half, the year before last, who ever since he got his contract, his production has been dipping. You decided to let him go. He goes to New England. Then you bring him back. I don't know what you expected from that. Zeke should have never been brought back, and then should have never been brought back. And then you go with Deuce Vaughn as your third running back, and now Deuce Vaughn is healthy scratches every week, and you're stuck to go with Hunter Lipke, the fullback, I'm guessing, as the third running back. And don't get me wrong, I like Hunter Lipke a lot, so don't get that misconstrued. But I'm gonna just give you some numbers. So combine all. This is all three of the Dallas Cowboys running back. I put Deuce Vaughn in this. I didn't put Lipke because Lipke is a fullback. Totally for all three rushes, they have 381 total rushing yards between all three running backs with one rushing touchdown. They have the 32nd ranked rushing offense in the entire NFL. So they're dead last in rushing. But Jerry and his son thought it would be a smart idea nah, we're not gonna go out and try to get a Derrick Henry. Nah, we're not gonna go out here and try to get another proven guy. We gonna do what we always do. We gonna bargain, basement, shop, and go ahead and grab somebody that nobody else want. And we gonna go ahead and bring that in and let's just see how that works. Let's see if we can get some bang for our buck. Derrick Henry by himself has 704 yards and 8 touchdowns. So Derrick Henry by himself has more rushing yards and rushing touchdowns than all three of the Cowboys running backs combined. But then you want to sit in front of the camera and say, "Oh, Derrick Henry was too expensive." Come on, I just don't understand it. Then on top of that, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait because right now I'm getting into my Jerry Jones stuff. I'm gonna wait because he gonna be last. Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott has been bad this year. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He's been bad this year. He got paid his money the first game of the season. Dak Prescott has not lived up to that contract this year so far. He has not lived up to it at all. I mean, if you watching the Detroit game, I mean that interception in the red zone. I mean, Dak, you've been in the league for 10 years. I don't know if it's 9 or 10 years. Bro, it's certain stuff you got to be able to recognize. You can't make crucial mistakes when you already got injuries, guys out, and you know what I'm saying? You already going up against a hell of a team. Your team is injury prone. You already know what's going on with your squad. You can't make costly mistakes like that because guess what? That interception ended up being points for Detroit. Just like against Pittsburgh. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Doc went down the field and did the game and dived on the fumble, made the game winning, scored through the game winning touchdown, whatever. But let's be honest. Before that, Doc was not playing good against Pittsburgh. Remember, he threw the pick six. I mean, not the pick six. Excuse me. He threw the interception right before the half when him and CD wasn't on the same page. He fumbled in the red zone against Pittsburgh. Some drives before that. So let's not. He didn't play good against Pittsburgh. He didn't really play good against the Browns. He didn't play good at all against New Orleans, and he didn't play good against Baltimore. They tried to make a little but you know he did the Doc thing. They getting blown out at the beginning, and then he comes back. He tries to make a heroic comeback after halftime, only for them to come up short like they always do. He's not playing good. Him and CD haven't been on the same thing. CD didn't come to training camp because of his contract. I totally understand you wanting your money, not being able, not showing up to camp or whatever. But these are the effects you get when you don't show up to camp. Now you and your quarterback is off, and it's called and it's showing in the team. You know what I'm saying? They arguing they going back and forth, throwing little jet. It's a lot. And then I'm watching the game on Sunday, and you got guys over there just smiling, they laughing, they don't care. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the same thing. I have zero faith that this team could turn it around. They had all off season, all training camp to do it. You think they're going to be able to do it in 1 week? They're not going to be able to turn it around. But the biggest problem, and I was just about to get to him, the biggest problem is Jerry Jones. That's the biggest problem in Dallas. Point blank period. in the discussion. That's the biggest problem in Dallas. You waited until the week 1 to pay your quarterback when all along you knew your plan was to pay him, but of course you just want to make headlines. You waited until almost the end of training camp to pay your wide receiver who you knew you was going to pay all along, but you just going out there and pay him. That doesn't make a lot of headlines for Jerry, so he don't like that. He don't want to do that. He didn't want to do the right thing with that. He landed his helicopter on the field. Just a whole bunch of stuff. I just got to the point. The league has passed Jerry. I don't think, you know what I'm saying? I know it's hard for him to fathom, but the league has passed you, bro. You need to step down as the general manager, hire a real general manager and somebody to actually run the team. You want to do everything. Jerry Jones, I don't care. I'm not talking about Jerry Jones. To me, is the worst general manager, the worst owner / general manager in the NFL. I don't care what nobody say. For you to, Jerry is not the one drafting the players. Yeah, he's putting the card in, but Jerry's not the one going out there scouting the players. So you can't even say, at least they draft well, because it's not Jerry the one that's scouting the players and doing all that. He just listening to what somebody else telling him. You know what I'm saying? But for you to sit there and then I seen a clip today, you getting mad at the guy for asking you questions about you not making any moves in the offseason. Why are you getting mad? Take accountability. You didn't make any moves in the offseason. You waited until week 1 to pay your starting quarterback. You waited until the end of training camp to pay your receiver. Now you seeing that show up on the field. You went and drafted for need, and had to throw your first round draft pick left tackle in the fire. You know what I'm saying? You didn't do anything as far as getting a defensive tackle or anything. But you want to sit up there and get mad when somebody tell you to take accountability or ask you questions about why you didn't do anything in the offseason. You got to, come on, we got to cut that out. We got to cut that out. We got to cut that out. The biggest problem in Dallas is Jerry Jones. Point blank, period. And until Jerry Jones decides to step down or take a step back, the team, it's not going to get, it's a culture problem. It's deeper than just football. It's a culture problem with this team. And I've been a fan my whole life. 30 years I've been a fan. Probably a little because, you know, a baby and all that, but I've been a fan for a long time. And I'm just getting tired of watching and seeing the same thing. I have zero faith that the Cowboys can turn this thing around. I think that only game I can possibly see them winning is probably the Giants on Thanksgiving. But I don't see them beating San Francisco outside of the bye week. I don't see them beating Atlanta. I don't see them beating Philly. I don't see them beating Washington. The only team that they probably can beat that I can see them winning after the bye week is the Giants. Mike McCarthy more than likely will get fired, and he needs to be fired. The offensive play calling is terrible. It's vanilla. You drive all the way down the field passing the ball, and then you wait until you get into the red zone and you want to run Zeke up the middle 2 times in a row and put us in third down. It's crazy. It's crazy. Mike Zimmer, I don't think they'll fire Mike Zimmer, but more than likely he'll be let go. He only signed him to a 1-year contract, so more than likely he'll be let go. But this team needs a reality check. And I wish the fans would see that and boycott this thing, but I know it won't happen. And like I said, I'll always be a Cowboy fan to the core, but sometimes you just got to call it. You got to call it for what it is. They a bad football team. Straight up and down, they a bad football team. You know what I'm saying? And I know people want to have hope. At the end of the day, you got to be a realist. I told myself when I came up with this right here that I was going to speak the honest truth and what I felt. And what I feel right now for my team, the season is over. It's over. But hopefully, I've been calling for them to actually probably for them to tank. So maybe they'll get a top 10 draft pick and get my boy Genty from Boise State, the running back. That's what I'm hoping for. But as far as them making anything happen or anything drastic happening this season, I don't see it happening. So I will put my faith at 0. And I think more than likely they won't make the playoffs. They'll probably they'll find a way to squeak out maybe a win that nobody expected or something like that. But I don't see them making the playoffs. I don't see them. They'll probably be third or fourth in the division, and hopefully they can at least, at the bare minimum, end up with a top 10 or 15 draft pick. Moving on to my next one. So I don't know if anybody watched, but I play a lot of I play a lot of fantasy football. So I try to pay attention to all the games. And one game that I was real interested in for two reasons was Tennessee versus the Indianapolis Colts. And the reason why I was interested in that game is because, one, I got a player on my fantasy that's on the Colts, and two, I don't know if y'all remember a couple episodes before the season started, I gave my sleeper teams or who I think would shock people in the AFC and in the NFC. And in the AFC, the Tennessee Titans was my team. And honestly, I was wrong about that. Tennessee haven't been very good this year, and it's shocking to me. But this past weekend, after the game, Calvin Ridley was pretty upset about his targets at the beginning of the game, and him being force-fed in the fourth quarter, but not getting any targets in the beginning of the game. And I got the quote right here. His exact quote was, "I need some in the beginning of the bleep game," fill in the lines. I need some in the beginning of the bleep game to bleep getting crazy for me. So basically that's him saying that and I'm sorry, I kind of botched that, but if y'all know, look it up. If y'all don't get what I'm saying, just look it up. But basically he's complaining about him not getting enough targets, him not getting enough targets at the beginning of the game, as much as I guess they try to force feed him in the fourth quarter, in like the third and fourth quarter. But with me, from what I've seen, watching the games and stuff that I did watch, Will Levis is terrible. And I mean, I hate to say that. I wanted to give him I said going into this season that I felt Tennessee could be a really good team, but it was going to all depend on the quarterback play that you got from Will Levis. Will Levis has been terrible this year. And it's kind of like, it's glaring. I mean, I'm watching him on Sunday. Is pause. Balls dying in the air. You know what I'm saying? He's balls are uncatchable. It's just all type. It's just he's airmailing receivers out of bounds. It's just bad. Like, it just looks bad. And at the beginning of this season, you gave in the offseason, you gave Calvin Ridley 4 years, $92 million, $50 million guaranteed contract. These are Calvin Ridley's numbers through 5 weeks. So week 1, he gave you 3 receptions, 50 yards, 0 touchdowns. Week 2, 4 receptions, 77 yards, 1 touchdown. Week 3, 1 reception, 9 yards, 0 touchdowns. Week 4, 1 reception, 5 yards, 0 touchdowns. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be. This past week, he had 0 receptions, 0 yards for 0 touchdowns. Now, dude, that don't sound like a receiver that you just gave that kind of contract to. That sounds like a guy that barely even play. You know what I'm saying? And I understand his frustration. You know, he had the gambling thing going on with Atlanta, whatever, didn't play, was going through mental health, all that stuff. Ended up going to Jacksonville last year. And you know, I think this time, I mean, and you can't be, I mean, you did choose to go to Tennessee. But I think this kind of right here is like a prove it thing for Calvin Ridley. And right now, it's not looking good. There's no way that Tennessee should have Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, that kind of firepower on the offensive side. Even though DeAndre Hopkins is a little up there, he still is productive. And they should look the way that they look on the offensive side of the ball. Will Levis, this is Will Levis rankings amongst quarterbacks. So amongst all quarterbacks in the NFL, he's 29th in attempts, 30th in passing yards with 706. He's 25th in passing touchdowns with 5. But guess what? He's first in interceptions with 7. He has a 44.9 Pro Football Focus grade. In total offense, they're ranked 31st with 10 offensive touchdowns. Passing offense, 31st. Rushing, 15th. Scoring, 21st. Red zone offense, 16th. Third down offense, 30th. That's terrible to have those kind of guys on your on the offensive side of the ball and not be able to produce anything. It's either one or two things. Either the offensive coordinator is terrible or the quarterback. I'm going to lean more towards the quarterback, because when you have a quarterback with limitations such as that Will Levis have, then I mean that right there shows you. I mean, even if the offensive coordinator does have a bag, he can't call it for Will Levis, because Will Levis has limitations in his game. You've seen it. I think it was week 2 against the Jets. Where the coach was actually screaming on him. You know what I'm saying? So if the coach is screaming on you, that just goes to show you that Will Levis is not that guy. And I have faith in him. I said I picked the Tennessee Titans as my sleeper team, and I said I felt like that the Tennessee Titans could be that team that could maybe battle for their division, because you know what I'm saying, you got the Jaguars not looking good. You got the Colts, Joe Flacco playing now. I don't know what's the situation with Anthony Richardson, but with the Colts, I mean, the only team that really was the Texans. And even though I thought the Texans could win a division, I thought maybe Tennessee could battle and maybe sneak in the back end of the playoffs. I don't think that's happening. They look bad. They look bad, especially on the offensive side. And it's just now once you start getting guys speaking up and everything like that, and then like I said, you already had the coach going at Will Levis early in the season. Now you got players speaking out about wanting the ball. I don't know if that was a shot more so at him, or if that was a shot at the OC and the head coach. I don't know. We just got to wait and see. But things are not looking good in Tennessee. Get your playmakers the ball, and you know what I'm saying, let them do their thing. They have too much offensive firepower over there to you know what I'm saying, be damn near ranked at the bottom of the league in all offensive and most offensive categories. So we just gotta wait and see. So what I tell y'all on the last episode, I told y'all, I said, this is how I know this is meant for me to do this. Because every time I shoot an episode, every time it's breaking news literally that same day. So today I'm on my way home, just out. I get a bing on my phone going crazy. Guess what I see? Davante Adams has been traded from the Las Vegas Raiders to the New York Jets. Now, if you know, everybody kind of figure. I made it on my last episode, I believe, or the episode before last. I gave my example, my fits, who I thought would be a perfect fit for Davante Adams. I think I said Jets. Jets was one. Saints, Commanders, Bills. It was a list. Chiefs was on there as well. And he ended up, but everybody was kind of leaning towards the Jets. Him, the relationship he had with Aaron Rodgers, everything like that. You know what I'm saying? So everybody was kind of already leaning the Jets. Boom. Today they made it happen. Yesterday they ended up losing to the Buffalo Bills 20. I believe it was 20-23. Aaron Rodgers went and threw his receiver under the bus, even though Mike Williams did slip and fall. You know what I'm saying? He had a rough game yesterday. Aaron Rodgers went and threw him under the bus, and I guess he made that call and said, we need to make this Davante thing happen. They made it happen. So once I get the Davante news, I'm like, okay, boom. Let me go ahead and do my little research. I get another ping on the phone a little bit later. What do I see? Amari Cooper traded from the Cleveland Browns to the Buffalo Bills. I like that move for Buffalo. A whole lot, just because, what did I say? I said that Josh Allen was putting up MVP numbers. I mean, that kind of like died down these past couple of weeks. But before that Baltimore game, I believe Josh Allen, to me, was the front runner for the MVP. The numbers he was putting up, and that was without a wide receiver one. You know what I'm saying? Now you go out and get Amari Cooper, a proven receiver one, a route runner extraordinaire. You pair him up with the guys you already got there with your Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Matt Collins. You pair him up with them, and you know what I'm saying? I think Amari Cooper gives you that, you know what I'm saying? If you put him and Keon Coleman out there, and then you can have Shakir working in the slot, because Keon Coleman is not a guy that's going to get you a lot of separation. Keon Coleman is one of those guys you can throw jump balls to. He can go up, get the football, make those tough catches and all that. He's not one of those guys that's going to give you separation or a great route run or anything. But now you add Amari Cooper in that mix, a guy who can give you great routes and find ways to get open. I think him and Josh Allen is going to mesh very well. I'm a big Amari Cooper fan. I wish my Cowboys would have went out and got him, but of course, I expected this to happen for them not to go out and get him. But I like the move a lot for Buffalo. I really like that move for Buffalo. Only concern with Amari does lead the league in drops, but he was playing for the Browns, who have the 32nd ranked total offense in the NFL. I already said what I thought about Deshaun Watson a few episodes ago. He's been terrible. So I don't know. Maybe Amari just needed a change of scenery. Maybe he was over playing for Cleveland. He's seen where it was headed, and he decided, hey, he didn't decide, but now he's traded. He's been in trade rumors all year, and I think I seen somewhere where Cleveland had switched up something on his salary hit or something to where a lot of people had already assumed he would be traded. So I like the move for Buffalo. If Amari can clean up those drops, I think him and Josh Allen will mesh really well. I don't think that this is something that will propel the Bills to win in the AFC, because I think Kansas City winning the AFC regardless, but I think this kind of puts them in a tier with like that Baltimore, Houston. I think it puts them like in that tier. I think KC is in the tier of their own. I'm shocked that KC didn't go after Amari Cooper. Him and Patrick Mahomes would have been a great fit, but Buffalo ended up getting them. I think so. If you're looking at like the tier 2 teams with like Baltimore, Houston, I would throw Buffalo in that mix now. This definitely gives them a shot, but I just think KC is in the tier of their own. So those guys will be battling to see, who would ultimately have to go face KC, because I think KC regardless is coming out the AFC. But I like the move. And going back to Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams during their time in Green Bay combined for 622 receptions, 7,590 receiving yards, and 69 touchdowns. So I like this move for Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, I would kind of put the Jets. The Jets got a lot of catching up to do. Their offense have been the problem. That defensively they've been solid defensively. The offense have been the problem. I think they'll move on from Mike Williams now, especially after yesterday, and then Aaron Rodgers making his comments. You bring in Davante Adams, you pair him up with Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson has looked very good in these last 2 games. You pair him up with Wilson and then Lazard. You got Breece in the backfield. Give Breece the ball more. Don't get all the way in the red zone and then stop giving the ball to Breece. Run the football. That's what they need to do, run the football. But besides that, I like the move. Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, it shouldn't take them long to get that connection back. They was together for a long time in Green Bay. I think Davante Adams is coming over there with something to prove. A lot of people saying that he may not have it no more. He's not worth the money that he's getting. A lot, they say a lot of things. I think it's okay. I think the Jets. I like the move for the Jets. They still have some catching up to do. They lost last night, so I believe they're 2-4. They're 2-4, so they got some catching up to do. But I like the move. You pair him, like I said, with Wilson, Lazard. The last 2 games, Garrett Wilson has really stepped it up. Week 5, he gave you 101 yards with a touchdown, and then last night he gave you 107 and 1 touchdown. So you pair him with Davante Adams, and hopefully he can learn some things from him. And we'll see how it goes. If I had to pick who I believe made out better in the trade, me personally, I'm going to go with Buffalo, because Josh Allen already was looking very good before getting the number 1 guy. Now you add Amari Cooper in there. I just gave you all his attributes and the things that he can do. You throw him in there with Josh Allen. I think that's a real good recipe right there. Josh Allen right now, he has 1,160 yards and 10 touchdowns. So with 0 interceptions. So like I said, Josh Allen is already, to me, on an MVP pace right now. But now you add in Amari Cooper, you give him another weapon, that bona fide number 1, that guy in crunch time that I know I can go to. I like the move. So we just got to see what happens. So I just wanted to go ahead and talk about that for a little bit because, like I said, it did come to me today. So Davonte Adams is headed to the Jets. Amari Cooper is headed to the Buffalo Bills. So, as we all know, as you see the hat, this was like an outfit thing, but not really specifically for what I'm about to talk about. But basketball is right around the corner. For all my basketball folks, y'all can start back tuning in because we about to get that basketball popping again. But I wanted to discuss some preseason NBA basketball I've been paying attention to. This right here is a hot topic, so a lot of y'all may know what I'm going to. But I want to discuss Bronny James struggling in the preseason. So he's played 3 games. I'm gonna just read off his numbers. From his first 3 games, and I'm gonna go ahead and discuss that. So his first game, he had 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 blocks. He was a -12 in the plus minus. His game 2, he had 0 points, 2 rebounds, 0 assists. He was 0-1 from the field, 0-1 from 3. He had 4 turnovers with a -16. And then game 3, he had 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0-4 from the field, 0-2 from 3, a -12. Bronny James, -40 is tied for the second worst in the. Oh, my bad. He had a -40 in 3 games. So all in total, he had a -40. In the plus minus, he had a -40. Bronny James, -40 is tied for the second worst in the NBA preseason for a player with a minimum of 3 games played. He is joined by Washington Wizards player Jordan Poole and Alex Saab, the number 2 pick in the draft. That's ironic that 2 of the other worst guys are both on the same team, and it happens to be Washington. But discussing Bronny James, and I've watched I've watched 2 out of his 3 preseason games. But this what I want y'all to do, and this has been on my mind all day. This is what I want y'all to do. I want y'all to, and this is for other content creators. I don't want to, get into all that bickering thing with but this is what I need y'all to stop doing. I want y'all to stop trying to push this narrative that people is trying to down Bronny because the simple fact they have something against his dad or they have something against, they don't feel like. At the end of the day, you have people out here like me that actually just enjoy the game of basketball and that's going off of what they're seeing when they watch the game. Bronny James is not playing good basketball. Currently, right now, Bronny James doesn't look like he belongs on the NBA roster. There's people out here and I'm not one of them because if you go a couple episodes back, I said I felt like Bronny could get on the NBA roster. I felt like he was a solid defender. I felt like he maybe could turn into that Drew Holiday prototype or somebody like that who can be good on the defensive end and give you some catch and shoot buckets on the offensive end. Right now, Bronny is giving you neither one of those. He looks bad. And I want people, because I've been hearing that a lot, and it kind of like upsets me because, don't get me wrong. There is people out here that I don't like LeBron, so I'm going to take all my energy towards LeBron and put it towards his son. There is people like that. I'm not saying that it's not. That's by far what I'm saying. What I am saying is, though, we got to stop pushing the narrative that there's not people out here that just actually enjoy watching the game of basketball, or because you didn't play in the NBA or anything like that, you can't judge what you're seeing, what you're watching when you watch him play. He's not playing good basketball. It's just that simple. Now, could things change? Absolutely. But a lot of you guys that's critiquing the people that's saying he looked bad are a lot of the guys that wanted him to go to the Lakers, where I felt like it wasn't a good idea for him to go to. Do you know how much I understand the great thing about him being able to play with his dad and the making history and everything? But do you understand the pressure it is for this young man to be drafted to the Los Angeles Lakers as the 55th overall pick? And you're going to go play with your dad, who's arguably the greatest player of all time. Do you think people is just going to sit back and expect for him to just, because there's people out here that feel like there's other kids that could have been took at that 55 spot, that 55th selection, that could actually contribute. A lot of people out here believe that the reason why Bronny is going to play, or Bronny's even on the roster period, is because who his dad is. Let's just be all the way honest and keep it 100. If I'm just saying, I'm just calling a spade a spade. If any other rookie put up these kind of numbers, more than likely they probably wouldn't even be mentioned, or they'd be headed down to the G League. But Bronny's gonna sit on the bench. We already know what's gonna happen. And then I hear people saying, "Oh well, what do you expect?" I mean, everybody's expecting for him everybody's expecting him to come out and be his dad. No, everybody's expecting for him to come out and at least look like some type of NBA player. He doesn't look like an NBA player. There's not one person who can tell me right now, currently, any game that you watch the Bronny James, he looks like a competent NBA player. He looked like he's a competent NBA player. He doesn't even look like he can be a role player right now. But like I said, I just want that narrative to stop being pushed that, oh, people just don't like his dad, so they're attacking him. No, there's people that actually enjoy watching the game of basketball that go off what they see. That's it. There's no narratives behind it. I root for Bronny. I like Bronny. I would love to watch Bronny succeed. I would love to see Bronny succeed. But at the end of the day, if I'm watching the game and I see that he playing terrible, guess what? I'm going to say that he playing terrible. It's just that simple. Because I'm not trying to say it like that. I'm pretty sure there is other kids out there that could have got took at that same 55 selection and got out there on the court and looked much better than Bronny is looking currently. And that's just what it is. So we got to stop that. We got to stop pushing those narratives. Like I said, Alex Sarr and Jordan Poole, they've also looked terrible. And Alex Sarr was the number 2 pick in the draft. But trust me, if I see him I'ma call it. That's why when I wrote that down, I made sure that I was gonna put his name and say his name. I'm not one of those type of people that's gonna just sit there and just want to direct my attention. No. If guess what? If Bronny come out, matter of fact, he about to play in a little bit, I'm gonna watch it. If Bronny go out there and score 30, guess what? I'm gonna speak on him looking good, scoring 30 or scoring 15 or whatever. There's actual people out here, despite what y'all may think in this whole internet thing, there's actually people out here that watch the game, enjoy the games, and talk about what they see, and don't just do everything for clicks. So that's all I wanted to speak on. Hopefully, I'm going to see what Bronny do tonight. I'm going to check him out and watch. But right now, it ain't looking good, and I'm just calling a spade a spade. But we'll see how things progress and what goes on. Last but not least, so last week, I did my week 6 predictions. I did pretty good last week. I went 10-4. A couple of teams cost me. The Cowboys, I should have went with Detroit. I went hard overhead on that one. Who else? Broncos screwed me over. It was two other teams. It was 2 other teams that got me. Nevertheless, I went 10-4 last week. Remember what I'm telling y'all. Do not take my predictions and put them on no bets. If you choose to do it, that is on you. That don't look at me and say nothing. These are my predictions. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give my predictions for week 7 of the NFL, and y'all already know next week's episode, I'm gonna dive into I'm gonna go ahead and give you my record and see how we did. So I'm gonna start off with Thursday night football. I took the Broncos over the Saints, and the reason why I took the Broncos over the Saints is because even though the Broncos just coming off a loss and the game is gonna be in the Superdome, I was kind of skeptical of this pick. I just don't think Spencer Rattler. I seen him. I watched some of that game last week against the Bucks, and it looked like once teams started heating him up, he started making a little bit of rookie mistakes. I think I like Denver. I like Denver's defense a lot. So I went ahead. That one right there is a toss up, but I went with the Broncos over the Saints. Just because I like Denver's defense a lot, and I think Bo Nix can make some plays that probably can give them a lead. That probably can give them a lead early, and then their defense could just pin their ears back and do their thing. I went Jaguars over the Patriots. I went Bengals over the Browns. I went Colts over Dolphins. I like how that's like 2 weeks in a row. I like how the Colts have looked with Flacco back there. They was in a nail biter against the Jags, end up losing, and then they ended up winning a nail biter this past week against Tennessee. So I went Colts over Dolphins. You already know the quarterback situation in Miami, so That's what I went. I went Eagles over Giants. This game right here, I went Lions over Vikings. And I'm gonna tell you, I apologize to all my Detroit fans. I didn't get a chance to show them no love in that first segment because I was so hell bent on diving into my Cowboys. I was so upset. I didn't even get to give all my stats that I put down for the Cowboys or nothing. That's how upset I was. But Detroit is a really, really, really good team. I love what Dan Campbell has done over there. The culture, he's changed the culture in a matter of years he's been there. I'm not gonna lie to you. Right now, and people may call me crazy, or may say that I'm high, whatever. I got Detroit coming out of the NFC. If Detroit could stay healthy, I got Detroit coming out of the NFC. I really, really, really like this Detroit team a lot. They're physical. I like their defense. The Aiden Hutchinson injury is gonna hurt. And prayers go out to Aiden Hutchinson. Get well soon, speedy recovery. That one is gonna hurt, but I think even without Aiden Hutchinson, I think Detroit can do enough to get out of the NFC. That, like I said, their defense is physical. They're fast. They're on the offensive side. That offensive line, and they mauling guys. And they, Jared Goff looks very good. They got, to me, the best running back duo in the NFL with Gibbs and Montgomery. I like their wide receivers, Williams, Amari St. Brown. I just like Detroit as a whole. So right now, if I had to say, I'm picking them to come out the NFC, and I think they're going to beat Minnesota this week. That's going to be a hell of a game. That's probably going to be the game I mostly pay attention to. Detroit headed to Minnesota. I think they give Minnesota their first loss this week. That's what I went with. I went Falcons over Seahawks. I went Packers over. That's another game that I was kind of conflicted on. But I went Packers over Texans. And the only reason I went there, I wanted to go Texans. But last time I picked the Texans on the road against Minnesota, they got punished. So I said I ain't going to do that again. So I went Packers over Texans in Lambeau. If it was in Houston, I probably would have went Houston. But since it's in Lambeau, I'm going Packers. I took Bills over Titans. I took Commanders over the Panthers. I took Rams over Raiders. I took Chiefs over 49ers. Y'all know I'm not going against Mahomes. I took Jets over Steelers. This game right here was tough, but this is another team I really love what I'm seeing out of them. I went Bucks over Raiders. I went Bucks over Ravens. And the reason why I did that is because I really like what I've been seeing lately from the Bucks. I love how Baker Mayfield's been looking this year. Mike Evans is a touchdown machine. Godwin looks like he's finally back fully healthy, playing good. Bucky Irvin, the running back. The defense is solid. I like what I've been seeing from the Bucks. That right there is, I think the Bucks are going to be at home. So I took the Bucks over the Ravens, even though I like how the Ravens look too, but I went Bucks in that game. And last but not least, I went Chargers over the Cardinals. So we got a doubleheader on Monday night this week, I think. One of them, I don't know which one. I got to look. I don't know which one is the early morning game, but I think the Bucks and Ravens and Chargers and Cardinals are a doubleheader Monday night. But I could be wrong. If I come back, I'll say it or I'll let it be known. But that's it for this episode. I appreciate everybody for rocking with me. This right here was episode 18. Like I said, do not forget to smash that subscribe button. Do not forget to like and share the content. Y'all already know the motto. No gimmicks, only the real. I see y'all next time.